Welcome back, fellow shapers. You may have wondered what's happened with the boat. That's what happened. The bugger broke. I knew it would, but it broke on 1/3 of it. The other 2/3 hoping to use for a different project, but and this bit I'm going to use for a different project as well, so it's not totally in vain, and I learnt a few things along the way, and I'm going to try a much more simpler method this time to get some kind of success. By the way, this hat is really keeping that sun off the head, and keeping my head cool. I'm guessing that will warm up considerably, but at the moment it's doing a fine job. Otherwise I would be melting right now. Be a little puddle. Anyway, so we're going for hazel. I've got this lovely stout stick that shouldn't need too much work on it. Just thin both ends out. Let's see how we go. So the natural bending point is this. So this is going to be what I think they call the belly. The inside. And I shall fire it like so. So find that bending point again. A little bit of masking tape ready. No electricity tape or anything really. It's not important. As long as it gives you accurate information. So what I'm using here is 75-pound fishing braid, which can take a phenomenal 75 pounds. This is quite old now, so I'm guessing it's probably dropped down to £50, possibly even less, because it is, like I say, probably 7 years old, 8 years old, and these things do deteriorate. So we've got our central line here, and it's not very central with the wood. I don't know whether you can see that. And that's pushing it. Right, so we've got a line going roughly down the centre. Not the straightest line I've ever seen, but then, oh, bugger it. I think I'm going to be saying bugger it quite a few times. So we're going to remove some wood on this belly side. Well, first we've got to measure it. That's 166. Half of 166 is 83. And to double check that, so that's the centre point, and then we're going to go I'd say about 20 centimetres either side. And that's where the bulk of the strength is going to be. So for now, we will leave the handle and work on thinning these ends out. And we will leave that bit alone for now and concentrate more on levelling out this wood. I want it to balance on that centre line, which obviously a lot needs to come off. As I say, I'm keeping this as simple as quick as possible. I want to have this done today. Today. Yeah, you heard me right. I think there's probably bugger all chance of it being today, but we shall try. This incidentally would make quite good bowstring really. Boil it up and weave it. Yeah, so you can see I've emphasised that line along the belly. I'm trying to leave this section, like I said, and obviously a lot needs to come off this end. But we've got a nice straightish line going there now that I can follow and just remove the wood. Simples so far. And it comes down and is simply tied with that yellow paracord in the middle of the bowstring. It then, to anchor it down, I drove these two poles into the ground quite far, not too far though. And then put a paracord cord or a cable tie. I keep calling them paracords because I remember seeing them in the Paras, a TV show back in the 80s. And they were used for handcuffs. But yeah, the paracord cable tie just holds those two sticks together. There's quite a lot of strength, it seems. I've been tugging on this with quite a lot of power. So the anchorage is working well. The string then goes along, and at the moment I've got it weighed down with two very heavy pieces of wood. And then it goes on and is tied to that tree over the back there. So that's an adjustable knot, so I can then just very easily tighten it up a little bit more, then put these weights on a bit more, and I'll stretch it a little bit as well with my hands. So yeah, it's looking quite good. From a distance it's looking quite equal. But yeah, when you pull it you'll be able to see where you need to shave just little bits off of it here or there by the way it pulls. So I might actually have this bow done today, which would be a bit of a contrast to the last one, which took 6 months and broke. So fingers crossed. So I'm just going to spend a little bit of time on my arrow, because it's getting interesting. Alright, so that was only, what, 3-4 metres away, but hey, it hit, it done damage. That's all I'll be doing is target shooting. But I have found that this arrow is hard to locate once you've fired it up in the air, or over there somewhere, which I've just done. Just spent 10 minutes trying to find it, so I'm going to add a bit of red to it somewhere or other, and also an arrow head, because that just simply isn't cutting it. Bits keep breaking and splitting. I don't know about the feathers yet. I'll probably leave that for now, and maybe look up a bit of that. Will you shut up? God, bloody monk jacks. Thank you. That's how you tell them. You don't listen to it. Tell them. I can't believe that actually worked. I didn't mean it. Come back. It's alright. Chill out. God. Take it so personally. Anyway, I'm losing my mind here. So I'm going to get on with some stuff, which is going to be a cup of coffee, and to do something else to this arrow. The bow I'm happy with for the moment. I might make a handle for the bow. We shall see.
What about a boat that's also a plane, that's also a car? Radio X. Hello, Chris Miles here. I'm so sorry to interrupt your podcast enjoyment. I'm with my friend Dominic Burke. Hello there, I'm sorry. You may remember us, we used to be on the radio back in the day. Well, we still are. Anyway, we do a podcast. It's called the Chris Miles Show Radio X podcast. in small post offices. Is that correct? I don't think I would choose one for a small town these days. What would you choose? Spaceman, really. I'd probably go for a plane. You basically, when you're struggling, all you can think of is chainsaw ladies. That's it, isn't it? You are like a little boy on the front of the boat.
Yeah, well, this is it. Like, there is an element of like skill to work at though, because yeah, you've got to think of the five-letter word, but you've also got to get it right head. You know what I mean?
That turns out to be very easy, doesn't it?
The difficulty level.
The very first time we played it, I guessed it.
Yeah,
It's a radio.
yeah. That's what we were discussing it downstairs.
And we were like, how should that work? And we proved that today, I think. Never mind. An exciting thing happened to you last night, Steve. We will talk about that. And also, don't forget, Eurovision on our side. Traditionally, I would tell my Eurovision story, which I told on the radio almost every year since around 2007.
God, that's, when you put it like that, that's a while ago now.
Well,
Isn't it?
it's the people's tale.
Yeah, anyone can tell the tale.
Anyone can tell the tale.
Mine's much more action-packed than the car chase in my version.
Joe, why don't you trace it?
By the BBC to announce
Ooh.
the scores from the achieved and meekly refer greeting people on Earth. Troubled times, long blocks of space, lorry
Look,
drivers moving on
broke the camera.
on the night.
Half the shots are hitting home. Ignore the silly hat, but I have done it. A bow in a day using hazel. Remarkably easy. I didn't need to tiller it much. It was quite evenly balanced. I just took the excess off the thick end and kept the thin end pretty much as it was. But yeah, I've carved this belly and left the front. That is the mid mark, and yeah, you can see that's balanced right on the line. So this took as much power as I can give it. Obviously this isn't the finished product. I need to change this because this is very elastic. Out of all of the paracords I've got, this is the most elastic. And ideally for a bowstring you need excuse me, ideally for a bowstring you need something that doesn't actually flex, that doesn't have that. That's why I'm going to use fishing braid, because I don't think there's much stretch on fishing braid as such, whereas this very stretchy. So if I was to leave this all day or two or three or whatever, it would just become slack because this line of the bowstring's gone slack. It's quite easy to set up, quite easy to dismantle. The homemade arrows, very basic at the moment, but I'll show you. So what I've done, I've actually bent this tip now a bit. There's a bit of polymorph on the end of the arrow with a little bit of a point, not too sharp obviously because it's only plastic. That then sticks to this by itself with no adhesive or anything needed. And the same in this end, I've just made a notch like that with thermoplastic again. As little as possible, because obviously when you fire it, it kind of hits that a little bit, so you need to have it tapered, I found. Unless there's another way of doing these things, let me know. But I mean, that isn't straight as an arrow, as to say. But that said, it's been quite consistent even without the fletching. Adding the feathers to the end here, which is going to improve its accuracy incredibly during flight. That's its main object really, is just to keep it going that way straight. A few of my shots have gone sort of like that, a bit like sort of, and then tumbled, and that's because there's no feathers to guide it. There's a little bit more weight on this end which helps, I think. But otherwise, yeah, this was made out of a hazel branch as well. But yeah, you get the idea. And I get the idea, quite frankly. I know now lots of little things I've learnt from doing this the last 24 hours. And it is feasible to make this basically into a bow, this piece of hazel, would you believe? It's not going to last forever, I'm not expecting it to. It's just a kind of seasonal thing, I guess. But if I show you here, what I plan to do is, not with this bit of wood, incidentally, but is have another bow on the front, smaller, much smaller. But yeah, if you can imagine, there's another small bow on the front, and then this would be tied to this, and this end would be tied to this end, giving it opposite pulling power, making it much stronger. Also taking the stress off this main piece of wood a bit. It seems to be quite a good way of dealing with that if you haven't got particularly good wood. So I'm going to make another smaller bow out of ash. This is, ignore this piece of wood, it's just got a bit of a bend in it, that's what I'm showing you. And that's called a Plimob Scott, which is easy to remember if you break it down into 3 syllables. But I suppose you could say Pinob, Pinob, Pinob Scott, Pinob Scott, Pinob. Well, it's P-Nob Scott, isn't it? How can you say that in a way that sounds good? P-Nob Scott. I must have pronunciation more on that. But yep, that's going to be the plan, I think. Small bow on the front, acting as extra tension and protection for this main piece. Take the strain off of that a little bit. Also, I'm going to have to get some feathers, I guess. I could make them out of very thin thermoplastic like dart flights, but I would like to add a little bit of natural to this, because I have cheated a bit with this plastic. Obviously this is not a natural material, and in fact I have cheated in a few cases really, using cable ties as well, just to hold the bow into shape a little bit better. So cable ties and a little bit of this plastic stuff. Otherwise, oh, and the paracord, I guess. Otherwise, it is made out of natural stuffs. So I'm going to take this ridiculous hat off because I'm satisfied. I managed to hit the camera earlier. I hope I got a good shot of that. It didn't damage the camera, thankfully, but that was quite a ranged shot, and I was surprised I hit the camera, which is just bloody typical, isn't it? I was going for a near shot, really. But yeah, typical. And I also punctured a hole straight through that box, probably half this distance, and it has got quite a lot of power in it, really, it seems. But we'll try one more. I won't get your hopes up. I don't know which hand to use, which way to have it. I mean, you can even fire that way, but then I find when you fire that way, it tends to go up in the air quite a lot. But if you aim low with it, you see, it needs the feathers to fly straight so it can penetrate. At the moment it's hitting it slightly sideways. This is the shot. 1 in a million, but it might just work. No. We're not going to catch that legendary shot, I'm afraid. Not today. So, please let me have your thoughts on this subject. Any ideas, any improvements, any tips, tricks, techniques that I can use. I didn't bring my proper camera with me this time round, so I apologise for the quality of the footage. It's probably going to be a bit starty, stoppy, and not as good quality as normal. 2K I think, but not 4K. But yeah, I shall shortly be packing up and heading home on this glorious day. But I have a feeling I'll be back very shortly, maybe even tomorrow. So until then, take care of yourselves and just watch those arrows flying around and things. And a message to one of my subscribers, Mark A. Cornish. I've hit targets. Okay, it's what, 7 meters, so I guess that's your target now to beat. Hitting a target 7 meters away. I challenge you. I know you had some poor success, well, not poor success, just the way it goes with these bows, it seems. When we both tried to make an ash bow, they both failed, which is why I opted for this easier approach with just hazel. It was a dream to shape it. The wood just came off like it was. I had a very sharp knife, but it was like going through butter because it was wet wood, hasn't been dried, and because of that it won't have as much power. Also it will probably deteriorate a little bit badly, whereas if that was had been dried out prior, probably get a better bow. But I wanted one in a day, and I got my one in a day. Thanks for watching.